Hello, my name is Maria Munoz, and this is my discussion for week 6. In education, educators must teach a specific framework that covers the curriculum and the standards of the states that they are teaching in. The curriculum and standards that educators teach often do not fit into all the learning needs of students. For example, the curriculum being taught is not oftentimes made for English learners, students with disabilities, advanced learners, and students who are struggling in the material for other reasons. In order to meet the learning of all students, educators can implement a type of instruction known as differentiation. The term differentiation refers to an approach made by the educator to adjust and change the curriculum and the teaching style of instruction and the teaching style to be able to meet the learning goals of all students. Through differentiation, educators can adjust their curriculum by including visuals and manipulatives for English learners and students with disabilities. For advanced learners, educators can use methods that require more thinking and work from advanced learners to expand their knowledge. And for students who are struggling with the material, educators can use differentiation to adjust their instruction and utilize small groups or independent work time with students who are in a lower level. According to the Ira Center, research shows strategies used to differentiate instructional and assessment tests for English language learners, gifted students, and struggling students were also effective for other students in the classroom, and students with learning disabilities received more benefits from differentiated instructions than their grade level peers. This is according to Ira Center 2024. The 4 areas of differentiation are content, process, product, and the learning environment. The use of content and differentiation is the way teachers present materials to students. When creating a lesson plan, educators must take into consideration that some students may have prior knowledge to the material, while others have never been exposed to it. This is where differentiation comes into play, and the way teachers must adjust their content to the learning of students. Educators can present the content being taught of the learning style of each student. Bloom's taxonomy can be followed through the creation of work that fits a student's needs after content has been taught. Educators can create activities, worksheets, and assessments to help and test students according to their knowledge and level of content that was taught. In the text, A Teacher's Guide to Special Education, the author explains how, quotation marks, students eligible for special education may get accommodations on the various assessments, or they can be given alternative assessments, and quotation marks, Bateman and Klein 2016. In differentiation process is the way that students understand and make sense of the content due to each student having a different learning style. In order for learners to learn the content, educators can use methods of reflection via partner talks, using small groups and learning centers in which teachers can ask specific questions and see if the student is learning the content and have students create visual presentations. The area of product and differentiation shows educators if learners are mastering the content through assessments, posters, oral presentations, visual presentations, and or presenting to a partner or small group. In differentiation, educators must offer different ways of assessing students of the knowledge that they are learning as they see best fits their learning needs. Educators utilize formal and informal assessments, which are quotation, systematic methods to ascertain what students have learned, and informal assessments are those used by teachers to determine a student's level of functioning in a classroom. Bateman and Klein 2016. Under differentiation, teachers utilize informal assessments in order to meet students' learning styles and needs. The last area of differentiation is the learning environment. In order for students who are considered English learners, students with disabilities, advanced learners, and students who are below grade level, the environment in which an educator is presenting content is important. When educators use whole class teaching, there is a high probability that only some students are listening, others are attempting to listen but are not understanding completely, and the rest may not be paying attention. It is important that when using differentiation, teachers have an environment that is quiet and calm to fit the needs of the students in order for them to be able to concentrate and learn the material. Students also need an environment in which they have all the resources necessary to learn the content in their own learning style. Having manipulatives, hands-on material, worksheets according to each student level, books, articles, and visuals as well are helpful to have in a classroom in which differentiation is happening. Universal Design for Learning, otherwise known as UDL, are guidelines that are a tool used in the implementation of Universal Design for Learning, a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people, based on scientific insights in how humans learn. This was according to CAS 2018. UDL guidelines follow 3 important areas. They provide multiple means of engagement, representation, and action and expression. Engagement means educators must provide different ways of engagement that fit all students' learning needs. Representation meaning how educators teach and present their content to students depending on the learner's needs. And action and expression meaning giving learners a variety of options to show the knowledge that they have learned. UDL guidelines and differentiation needs have many similarities, and both offer a positive relationship towards student learning. Both UDL and differentiation help and benefit students to learn in a way that best fits their own learning needs and gives students the opportunity to show the understanding of the knowledge in their own way. Both types of approaches help students with disabilities, English learners, advanced learners, and learners who are below grade level access the same in content, but in a way that they can successfully learn it and based on their needs. Both differentiation and UDL are positive approaches that can be used in all classrooms. Classrooms have a diversity of students, and each student learns in distinct ways. When students are not learning via whole class teaching, or are simply not understanding the content being given, educators can use differentiation and UDL guidelines to make a different approach and see if the student can benefit from it. In my lesson planning of my classroom, I already used the process of differentiation with my English learners. But using the UDL guidelines as well can be beneficial. When going over vocabulary during our small reading groups, English lessons, math, science, or social studies, it is important that my English learners get a second lesson in the vocabulary through visuals. They participate as a whole group, and when students are independently working, my 5 students join me for a small group, in which I go over the same vocabulary but using visuals. Due to the language barrier, it can be difficult for English learners to understand vocabulary at the first try, and this can affect them in their reading or math. If they are exposed to vocabulary through visual learning, it is easier for them to understand the vocab being taught. In my lesson planning, I can use UDL guidelines to help English learners be more successful in understanding the content I am teaching through the means of representation. Representation can be the use of context clues, prior knowledge, emphasis on big ideas, and the use of symbols to better help English learners understand the content. Thank you.